I 100% believe I will probably never be in a real relationship again.
Being a girl boss is so exhausting and not rewarding. The way
In today's polarized world, is feminism dead?
Modern day feminism is meant to literally break and destroy us.
Modern day feminism is already breaking and destroying, and many are falling for it.
Strong, confident men date feminists.
I'm going to say something really controversial now. Feminism has done mothers zero favors.
I know I do think that's a big problem with guys these days, is they aren't confident enough to approach women.
Seems to be doing more harm than good. Feminism isn't for equality at all. Kindly subscribe to the channel as it further supports us in our work. Thank you.
You may not agree with me, and that's fine, but I don't think that sex work is something that empowers women.
Because it doesn't, and that is absolutely.
Get ready with me to sit at the bar alone in hopes of meeting a man naturally instead of on a dating app.
To all the young girls and even ladies out there that don't buy into this whole modern feminist movement, that men are the enemy, that marriage is bondage, that children are a burden.
Oh my gosh, I'm so lonely in 2025. Like, all my friends have a boyfriend and I want a boyfriend.
Like, women can literally do anything, but we just let a man do it for us.
Men. I think you have turned this woman completely the fuck off. Yeah. Like, I genuinely, I don't know what the fuck this is, but I fucking wish that I would have found my man fucking 10, 15 years ago. Because this is horseshit. Like, I'm gonna stay all the way fucking single until I find a worthy one. And this carnal treasure, lock the fuck up, okay? Yeah.
Well, that carnal treasure should have been locked before passing it around. This is just another case of a woman dealing with toxic men, entertaining the bad boys and chasing the thrill, only to suddenly value herself after the damage is done. Now that she's been burned, now that the attention isn't what it used to be, now that the fun has turned into pain, that's when she wants to get serious. Now she's saying, I'll stay single until I find a worthy one. But why wasn't that the thought process in the first place? Where was that mindset when she was entertaining red flags? It's easy to talk about standards after the damage is done, after the body count's gone up. It's not that people can't grow, but growth without accountability just turns into entitlement. And sadly, that's what we're seeing. Women wanting to lock up what's left, hoping it's still enough to attract what they once dismissed.
I mean, feminism makes dating extremely hard. It is increasingly difficult to flirt with women nowadays. There's a large chance that you, as a man, will be #MeToo'd for simply pursuing a woman. I mean, the worst thing that could ever happen to dating is a woman interpreting a man pursuing her and thinking that she's beautiful as harassment.
I agree.
The next man who tells me that they're just not in a spot to date and can't give me what I want, but then give the next girl a couple months later exactly what I was asking for, is gonna get their house burnt down. Just tell me you don't like me. Be fucking honest.
Was there any other areas of feminism where you think it's having a negative impact?
Yes, I think it has ruined the family, the structure of the family, because the feminists are telling you, you're more than just a mom. You can do more. You have more to bring to the table, as if mothering wasn't a big enough job. You know, being a mom, being a parent is a full-time job. The feminist movement, women were saying, you're more than that. Just put your kids in daycare. Let the government raise your kids. Let somebody else do it. And you go, and because it's about you and you can have it all. And you can be a mom and you can have a full-time career and you can be completely satisfied and you can be married and you're still going to have energy. No, you cannot have it all at the same time. Maybe in a lifetime, but not all at the same time. You're going to have to make some sacrifices if you're going to raise a good, healthy family with good kids.
The women who were preaching this lifestyle are very unhappy. Yes, many of them have amazing careers, high-status jobs, and make a lot of money. But they also come home to an empty house. They traded connection for independence, thinking a job title or six-figure salary would fill the emotional void. But success means nothing when you have no one to share it with. Feminism most definitely has ruined the structure of the family. What started as a movement for equal rights slowly morphed into an ideology that encouraged women to reject traditional roles altogether, roles that once held the family together. It devalued the role of men as providers and protectors, while shaming women who wanted to be mothers and wives. And now, we are left with a culture full of confused individuals, broken relationships, and a society where the family, the most important unit, is falling apart.
Why is a confident woman so scary to these men? Like, okay, you don't like me. There's no reason to talk shit about a bad bitch because she wants to bad bitch on.
I know I do think that's a big problem with guys these days is they aren't confident enough to approach women. It's the women's fault that guys don't approach. You've got these feminists that want to be equal. They don't want to be approached. They want to be the man. They want to be on top. So now guys don't feel like they can approach women because a lot of women get offended. Catcalling. I would love to be catcalled. Sorry, I would like to walk down the street and someone whistle at me. That makes me feel really good about myself.
Auntie, do you feel like men approach women more or less now?
They approach women less now because women look more fierce. They wear more war paint, and because the men are scared. Because nowadays it takes a couple of rare things to happen for all men to be labelled. So now you don't even know whether to approach a woman or not because you don't know whether she's going to say that you're harassing her, leave her alone. And sometimes you might even just want, a man might just want to say, excuse me, love, do you know the No! Yeah.
If you think about it, the amount of effort we put in to get a woman, it's actually not even worth it anymore. We are not scared. We are just beat down and made to feel less because we are not up to high standards to be that 3%. It's just not worth the drama. We want to. But as lonely as it might be, it's peaceful. I've tried multiple times throughout life, and I've always been a gentleman. But after so many insults, judgmental people, I have completely stopped. It's less about fear and more about realization. When a man chooses not to approach a woman, realizing that if he does approach, there's a really high chance she might be very disrespectful. It's the understanding that he could be met with eye rolls, sarcasm, or a dismissive attitude, even if he came with nothing but respect. We're in a culture where a simple hello can be labeled as creepy, where rejection isn't just a polite no anymore. It can be laced with humiliation, attitude, or blasted online for clout. So, no, it's not fear. It's about self-respect. It's about men saying, why would I go out of my way to approach someone who already assumes the worst of me? Men are tired of being shamed for showing interest, and tired of being treated like predators for simply trying to start a conversation. So yes, feminism, especially in its modern radical form, has killed some men's confidence in a way, because approaching a woman back then compared to now wasn't nearly as risky, stressful, or hostile.
So a woman called me. She said, I'm 50 years old. I have 3 degrees. I'm a very successful entrepreneur, CEO. And I want you to know, Dennis, I deeply regret that I followed the feminist advice at college. Because when I come home after a successful day at work to an empty home, no husband, no children, no family, it's not good.
Women really saw their husbands come back from 12 hours of work, miserable and tired, and thought, gee, I want to do that too.
So would you advise men to date younger women with less trauma and baggage then?
Oh my God. Oh God. No, they gotta deal with the women that they've traumatized. Date your age.
Younger women do not have less baggage and trauma or anything else. Younger women don't have a lot of life experience, obviously, because they're younger. And having been, you know what, I can talk shit about 20-year-old girls because I've been a 20-year-old girl. And if you are on the same emotional plane as a 20-year-old girl, that says a lot about you if that's who you are dating. And I don't suggest it.
So the older you are, the more jaded you are, basically.
Pretty much, because you've been through it all. And then every time you go through a breakup and go through that
you get bitter and bitter. Your guards are up all the way.
I like how she said men have to deal with the women they've traumatized, as if those women didn't willingly chase after and entertain the exact types of men who clearly had no intentions from the start. These weren't hidden wolves in sheep's clothing. These were loud, proud, red flag waving men that they chose over and over again. And of course, she wouldn't advise men to date younger women. Why would she? She knows younger women often still bring femininity, cooperation, and aren't as jaded by years of poor choices. She knows that younger women are more likely to value partnership, not competition. This whole narrative is built on guilt-tripping men into settling for women who spent their prime years disrespecting, rejecting, playing the field too long. But the truth is, men aren't obligated to fix what someone else broke, especially when that same someone willingly kept breaking themselves for attention, drama, and surface-level attraction.
I really hate these modern day feminists who try to sit up here and tell me that I'm oppressed because I'm a stay-at-home mom. But the solution to this oppression is for me to just go to work and pay insane amounts of money so that I could outsource the work that I was already doing for my own kids. Me personally, I'll just never see me taking care of the family that I done sat up here and had as a bad thing. It's honestly a privilege. And if my man were to sit up here and tell me that he feels oppressed for having to financially provide for his family, I would look at him so crazy for that.
I'm so happy that women are starting to finally break out of the matrix and realize modern day feminism is meant to literally break and destroy us. And the reason we are all so fucked up and unhappy is because we are going against nature, and nature will always prevail and will always win. But that is like true. It's like so funny that it took this long for these things to start to become mainstream ideas. You don't need to be a girl boss. That shit's disgusting and embarrassing. Cut it out.
Because women literally destroy the world today, and I'll explain why. Radical feminism destroy the world and destroy women, and it destroy relationship. Yep. Because women kind of like destroy their own for themselves, destroyed it for themselves. Because you want to be equal to a man, you want men to treat you equally, everything, and you think that everything you do, you are perfect one. What we have, a lot of women have, right? Men have more value when they get older than a woman.
I agree.
Okay? And if women come and treat men like a wallet and everything has to be transactional, okay, men lose interest. The good women suffer from what the other women did, because radical feminism literally destroy the relationships today.
Radical feminism did destroy relationships, and because of that, relationships and many other foundational aspects of society began to unravel. It created a mindset where men were seen as oppressors rather than partners, and where women were encouraged to prioritize independence over interdependence. As a result, mutual respect and cooperation in relationships were replaced with power struggles, distrust, and unrealistic expectations. Many women today do treat men like wallets, which is why many men have taken a back seat. This whole feminism movement, especially in its radical form, has also ruined relationships for good women. It pushed narratives that encouraged women to chase independence at all costs, reject traditional roles, and view men as the enemy. As a result, even women who want to build healthy, committed relationships are struggling to find good men who are still willing to engage.
So 100,000 women went on strike today in Iceland to demand gender equality. The entire population is 370,000. So over 25% of the population went on strike. And I have some crazy news for you. The economy did not come to a stop, and it continued as normal. The only memo I got was that HR departments were getting no complaints for the 24 hours that the women were on strike. And men were writing that they were really sorry women didn't get gender equality. But I heard one CEO said it was nice to finally get some shit done, end quote.
Women get custody because the court system favors them.
No, but okay.
And I'll tell you what, men are punished for being traditional in this country. They are. Because the way the court system, and see this, I'm gonna talk about this because I know things. Because the way the code is written,
It's basically the person that spends the most time with the child. Well, if a man wants to protect and provide for his family, who does that punish? The guy for doing the right thing.
But the children spend more time with the mothers. Sometimes men are not as involved.
Correct. But it's because
children that want to go with the woman.
It's because they're at work, though. What's in the best interest of the child? When you look at single father homes, they fare very similar to two-parent households. When you look at single mother homes, they become criminals.
I didn't know that. Yep.
They become criminals, drug dealers, school shooters. Every really problem that you can look at in society comes from single mother homes. Single father homes, not the same.
I always see quotes on Twitter talking about why do men cheat on the prettiest girls? And it's because they are insecure.
No, ma'am. It's because a lot of women who are extremely pretty and they know that they are extremely pretty, a lot of those women think that is the only thing that they have to bring into the relationship. That's not all the time, because there are men who will cheat just because they want to cheat, no matter how good of a woman you are. But in a lot of cases, you have these women who are like, I'm so pretty. How could he ever cheat on me? And I look like this. Yet your personality is shit. All you bring into that man's life is chaos. That's why you have those situations where men, when they move on from the super pretty girl and you see the new girl that he gets with, you have those women who are like, well, I look better than her. Why is he with her? Because she brings things into their relationship that are more valuable than just being pretty.
That's absolutely true. Another thing these modern women say, and actually believe, is that their presence alone is enough to be around a man, as if just existing in his space is some grand favor. They don't believe they have to put in work, effort, or bring anything of real value to the table. All they believe in is just showing up, getting pampered, getting taken care of, as if they're clocking into a job and their beauty is the paycheck. No emotional support, no loyalty, no peace, no femininity, just entitlement and a sense that the man owes them something for simply being there. And then these same women act shocked when that man walks away and chooses a better woman, a woman who actually values him, who gives him peace, shows appreciation, brings softness, and doesn't treat him like a walking ATM. These women scream men ain't loyal or he switched up, but they never stop to think, what did I actually do for that man?
I do not understand why any of us are single. Do you want the same things out of life? Are you able to say, I'm sorry, that was not my intention, but I understand how you might feel that way based off my actions? And then can you learn from that conversation? That's really all it takes, and yet we're all here.
A lot of women are waiting for the finished product, and you're missing a really good man who knows who he is, but he just needs support. And I'll say this too, a lot of men are waiting to build their kingdom before they have their woman. A really good woman will support you in building that kingdom. The right woman will inspire the shit out of a man to build a bigger kingdom than he would have built alone.
Girlies, can we all just talk about the hot women to men ratio in the UK at the minute? Okay, maybe not go as far as UK, but especially in London. Because everywhere I go, beautiful women, stunning, gorgeous. Where's the men? Where are they? I actually think that you'd be lucky if you saw 1 in 100. I used to think to myself, how are these women single? Like, they're beautiful, a lot of them got good jobs, like, they can all fend for themselves, like, they're respectful, like, you know, all the things that you would want, right? And now I realise it's by choice. Because there's no one out there. And I'm 24, and I'm realising I'm probably going to be single for a very, very long time, because all the good ones get snapped up like that, and all the other ones, they're just disgusting.
It doesn't matter how hot a woman is, if men are repulsed by her attitude, entitlement, or the way she carries herself. It's no wonder why she can't get a match. Beauty might grab attention, but it's her energy, her character, and how she treats others that determines if a man will stay. And that's the real issue. So many of these women constantly talk about how beautiful they are, how many men are in their DMs, how many compliments they get. But they forget that looks fade, and that beauty alone doesn't sustain a relationship. A lot of women today focus on being the main character, but forget to develop the qualities that actually make someone a good partner. Men are no longer just chasing looks. They're searching for peace, support, and emotional connection. If all she brings is attitude and a pretty face, he'll admire her, sure, but from a distance.
Public service announcement, ladies. Remember, if he wanted to, he would. And he will. And guess what mine does?
Doesn't it make you laugh that it literally triggers feminists when you say, like, I want to make my man a sandwich, or I want to serve him, or I want to be submissive? Why do you get so mad by that? Why does that trigger you? Like, let's just reflect for a second. When you find a good man, you love doing those things for him. I don't know about you, but I love to make my husband food. He wants a sandwich, I will go gladly make him a sandwich. He wants me to pack his lunch. No problem. No problem. That's not an issue for me. Like, why does that get you so mad when you hear other women saying they want to serve their husband or their household? Why do you guys get so triggered?
Well, that's because many of these feminists want other women to be just as miserable as they are. No man, no kids, no family. That's why they get so offended when a woman says she wants to serve her man or build a home. It challenges the narrative they've built around independence, equating to happiness, even when they're clearly unfulfilled behind closed doors. They don't want to admit that what they sold as freedom often leads to loneliness. So when a woman chooses a different path, one rooted in love, partnership and sacrifice, they take it personally. Why? Because it reminds them of what they secretly desire, but gave up chasing careers, attention, and validation that never filled the void. It's not about empowerment anymore, it's about control. They don't want women to have real choice. They want everyone to pick the same path so they don't feel left behind.
What were some of the things you were told about men while growing up?
Don't trust them. Yeah, I agree with that one.
What is the most surprising thing you've learned about men from your experiences?
You can't trust them. Facts.
Do you prefer a man who is a gentleman or a bad boy?
Bad boy. Bad boy.
Is it fair to say women lust after bad boys but want to settle down with nice guys?
Yeah.
If you happen to be looking for a quality man, where would you expect to find one?
A quality man? Church. Yes, that is.
When was the last time you went to church?
Okay, guys, here's why feminism really fucks up a romantic relationship. Okay, our physical difference is just one thing. And why does this even matter in a relationship? Here's why. Both men and women have different attributes that make us amazing. All right. Now, while a man is physically stronger, they are there to protect us. All right. Let's be honest. Yes, I've tried to pretend fight with my boyfriend. He's going to kick my ass. Okay. Let's just be clear. My son, he's 10. He's almost ready to kick my ass, and I hardcore work out. So that is something that I'm just going to let them have. Okay. And how it works out in a relationship is, you know what? When that jar is too hard, yes, I'm going to ask him. I could probably do it, but guess what? That's what they're good at, and why don't we let them do that? All right? And when it turns to things that need nurturing, that need intuition, that need care and empathy, hey, here I am. Let me do that, okay? I am the expert at that. This is what comes natural for me, okay? So in relationships, it is very important for us to stay in our lane and do what we are made to do. And that way we have balance. And the man is the man and the woman is the woman, okay?
But that's not how feminists see it, especially the modern radical ones. They don't believe in complimenting a man. They believe in competing with him. In their minds, they're both the man and the woman. They want to lead, dominate, control, and still expect to be cherished, protected, and provided for. They constantly preach, I can do whatever a man can do. But when it's time to face the consequences or shoulder the burdens men carry daily, suddenly it's all, where are the real men? Feminism doesn't believe in letting a man be a man. In fact, they see masculinity as a threat, something to suppress or shame, until, of course, they need that same masculinity to fix their problems. Instead of being a partner, the modern feminist wants to be a rival, And when you bring two people into a relationship who are both trying to wear the crown, the kingdom crumbles. There's no harmony, just a constant power struggle.
Really have a right to be treated respectfully.
We are unfortunately running out of time, but Peter, I just want to get one final thought from you. Are there words that are used to describe men that offend you?
Not particularly, and if there are some I don't like, I certainly wouldn't want them banned, but it always goes back to that old adage, sticks and stones may break my bones, but there will always be something to offend a feminist.
Peter
Well, no, that's just obnoxious.
Peter
Sorry,
Lloyd,
you have to give me a chance to respond to that. That is ridiculous. No, hang on, I won't do your show again.
Does anybody else think that the dating apps are the worst that they've ever been? So what I mean by that is, of course, the dating apps have always been very hit or miss, but I feel like the past year or two, or even 3 years, I would say really just kind of after the pandemic, the behavior on the dating apps has just honestly gotten so much worse. Now, of course, there's always been like bad apples on there, but I do think that the behavior as a whole has really just trended downward the past couple years. Like with ghosting, with just playing a lot of games. I just feel like I've heard this from so many people, men and women. So if you guys are running into the same thing, let me know.
Misandry isn't a thing because misandry rarely, if ever, results in violence towards men.
Oh dear. So by this logic, as long as something doesn't cause large amounts of harm on a regular basis, it's not a thing. Right. But it's still okay to vehemently dislike someone based on characteristics that they cannot control. Good to know.
Misandry hurts men's feelings. Misogyny ends up with women being unalived by men.
I do believe that most rational people do acknowledge and understand that misogyny is wrong. After all, it is a form of bigotry, which, might I add, is misandry. But apparently it's okay to be a bigot as long as it's against men, because it only hurts men's feelings in some individuals' opinions, right? But unfortunately, that couldn't be further from the truth. Men do suffer from misandry, both physically and mentally. And if some individuals don't want to care about men's mental health and the unfortunate level of self-unaliving rates in the male population, well, then that's just fine. We'll just continue to push this narrative that misandry hurts no one except for men's feelings.
The thing about that is, women who say misandry isn't real are either in denial or intentionally ignoring the double standards in today's society. If a man said half the things some women say about men online, he'd be instantly labeled toxic, cancelled, or worse. But when women openly mock, shame, or belittle men, it's brushed off as jokes or speaking their truth. They'll say men are trash, men are useless, or all men cheat, and nobody bats an eye. But if a man dares to voice frustration about modern dating or women's behavior, suddenly he's accused of being bitter or insecure. That's not equality, that's selective outrage. Misandry is real. You see it when fathers get overlooked in custody battles. You see it when us boys are told to man up and hide their emotions. You see it when men are shamed just for having standards. But society doesn't want to talk about it, because acknowledging misandry would mean holding women accountable, and for some, that's too uncomfortable.
I'm sorry, but I'm so sick of sex workers complaining about the way they're getting, treated in society. Yeah, no shit. You thought you were gonna do something that controversial and also, degrading and demeaning, all the negative things, but you don't get to be judged. Everyone else gets to be judged, but what, you're safe from that category when you're doing the craziest thing? And also, I'm sorry, promoting that as normal and to young women and watching all these women regret it, ruin their lives, and every single sex worker comes out and says it's awful and they don't promote it to young women. And it's just oh, it's so annoying. I make political statements. I'm not exempt from people talking shit to me. I expect it.
Women in Russia are not afraid to embrace their femininity. They are proud to be women. What's more feminist than that? They don't need to be like men because Russian society already values them as women. I've met many women here who hold high positions in businesses, in the corporate world, and they're also mothers, and they also wear nice clothes, heels. They get their manicures done, take care of their appearance, wear makeup, have nice hair, because one does not take away from the other. In the West, for some reason, there's this perception that in order to be taken seriously, I need to be more like a man. Even in Belgium, when I was in university, if I wore dresses or heels or had my makeup done, my professors or sometimes my classmates would be like, why are you trying so hard? Like, they wouldn't take me as seriously. Like, why are you so girly? It's not a problem. Like, I'm a girl. Why can't I be a girl? Like, there was this pressure to kind of be more manly. You'll get a better job. But if the point of feminism is about women empowerment, why are we trying to be more like men? You know what's really empowering for women? Having paid maternity leave for 3 years while keeping your job position. That's empowering. Having respect for women, whether they choose to be mothers or business ladies or both. That is true feminism. Giving women the choice to be feminine and to do what they want. And Russia does exactly that. Here we don't need to be like men, and we understand that men and women are different. Doesn't mean one is better or one is worse, it just means we're different, and we can also be proud of being a woman. And that is feminism in Russia, knowing that there is power in being feminine.
Well, I think we all have that question. If the point of feminism is to empower women, why are so many women trying to be like men indeed? It's almost as if femininity isn't seen as powerful anymore unless it mirrors masculinity. But that's the irony. True empowerment should be about embracing what makes women women, not trying to replace or compete with men. That being said, some feminists today don't just want equality, they want dominance. They believe women should replace men entirely in leadership, in the household, and even in parenting. It's no longer about partnership, it's about control. And in that pursuit, they shame masculinity, labeling it as toxic anytime a man is assertive, strong, or takes charge. But masculinity in its healthy form is vital. Just like femininity, it brings balance. When you try to erase one and glorify the other, society becomes unstable. Families fall apart, relationships become transactional, and in the end, no one wins.
There's no way you are over here crying over that loser. That loser that did nothing for you. He didn't take you out. He didn't buy you flowers. He didn't even do the bare minimum. He was the bar below the bare minimum. I'm gonna need you to pick your butt up, and while you're down there, pick up your standards. Because this started with you. If you don't have high standards in your life, you are going to attract low quality men and low quality relationships. You need to level up in every area, financially, mentally, physically. Give yourself the top of the top treatment. Prioritize yourself, because if you don't learn how to prioritize you and who you are and all that you are, how can you expect these low quality men to do that for you? You need to get it together and stop crying over losers. Any man coming into your life should add on to what already you have going on, not give you a heartbreak.
I'm in a weird place right now, and I can't give you the time or the attention that you deserve. You're done. I like you a lot, and you treat me better than anybody else has in my whole life, but I can't commit to you right now. Will you wait for me? You're done. I can't be in a relationship with you right now because I'm still trying to figure out how I ended up with somebody so amazing that treats me so well. Get the fuck out of here.
I try not to really focus too much on the fact that, like, I've been single for quite some time and, like, I haven't found my person yet. And I feel like the one thing that I desire the most, I have not obtained it in life yet. And I try not to have that, constantly at the front of my mind. And then sometimes I just have moments and thoughts where I'm just like, damn, this kind of sucks. And like, when is this feeling and when is this season of my singleness going to be over. And the most sucky part about it is that, like, no one has the answers. I don't know. I can't ask anybody else. I literally just have to wait.
Just like this woman, there are so many out there who constantly complain about how single they are, how there's no good men left, yet they put in zero effort. They don't want to approach, initiate, or even show genuine interest. Some do, but let's be real, it's only a handful. Most are sitting back, scrolling through social media, waiting for Prince Charming to magically fall into their lap. It's like they expect a high-value man to just appear, read their mind, and pursue them endlessly, while they offer nothing but presents and pretty pictures. No vulnerability, no accountability, no feminine energy, just entitlement and a list of unrealistic standards. And when it doesn't work out, they blame men, dating apps, or society, anything but themselves. The truth is, relationships require effort from both sides, but many of these women have been taught that their beauty is enough, that being a woman is the only requirement. That mindset keeps them single and confused as to why.